So, Dr. Ferretti, it's my great honor to welcome you on our show. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. The first question that I have for you is, why is it so important for us to consider a detox or a juice fast or a cleanse?
You mean to improve?
Yeah, to improve our health, our vitality, and maybe even our health symptoms. Some of us might even have symptoms.
Yeah, so I think the best place to start is, so that everyone's on the same page, is to define what health is. As you know, many people think they're healthy if they're just symptom free, and that's not always the case. So I think the best way to define health is in terms of cell function. So each of us is an ecosystem made up of about 75 to 100 trillion cells. So these cells are programmed, they have innate intelligence, they're hardwired for health. The whole system is a self-healing, self-regulating system. They never malfunction, and that's, you know, a lot of people think that when they do have a lifestyle disease that it's either bad luck or bad genes or something's gone wrong, but cells don't. They just function, they move towards homeostasis, growth and repair. That's what they're hardwired to do. But if they cannot get there in the environment that they're in, whether it's deficient or toxic, then what happens is that they start to adapt, and if they have to continue to adapt, then they get fatigued, and then their end result is cell death. So in thinking of us at the cellular level, all of our cells have to be healthy. Everyone can always use a bit more health, even if you are healthy. So we now live, unfortunately, in a very stressful environment, industrialized living. You know, we've had a lot of advancements from the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, the chemical revolution, and now most recently the technological revolution. But those advancements have come at a cost. You know, we're now living in an environment that's extremely deficient and extremely toxic, and we can't get what we need from our foodstuffs. We accumulate toxins, heavy metals, fake estrogen, electromagnetic radiation has increased exponentially in the last 100 years.
All I'm going to ask you is, so Dr. Ferretti, what I heard from you is lifestyle diseases. What are lifestyle diseases? Like what falls under that category?
Diabetes, heart disease, cancer, depression. These are all lifestyle diseases, and they are preventable. And a lot of people, you know, they don't even realize, they don't have the awareness and they don't have the background to understand that they have a choice not to develop a disease like that, because it's not bad genes and it's certainly not bad luck. It's what you are giving your cells, whether you're giving yourself what they need in raw materials, in sufficient amounts, long enough, and addressing any toxicities or deficiencies that may be part of that person's lifestyle. So the crux of it is that, you know, most recently, it's not enough to rely on the natural detoxification processes of our body. It's just not enough, because the environment is too toxic and too deficient. So we need to actively address our diet, address supplementation for things that we simply can't get anymore from our food, or if we do get them, like essential fatty acids. Someone can get their intake of sufficiency from essential fatty acids from eating fish, but they would have to then chelate a lot of the heavy metals and mercuries out of their system, and they would have to make sure that they could do that over time, or they would bioaccumulate, and I mean, that's a heavy toxicity for your cells, and it's going to compromise a person's health.
So what can we do then to improve our health?
Well, we need to make lifestyle choices that provide sufficient and pure raw materials for your cells, and to avoid toxins. But also, in industrialized living, that is not enough. You need to actively do things that will help rid your body of the toxins that we accumulate, which are many, you know.
And that's where a detox or a cleanse comes in to kind of...
Yes, provided that's a good choice. And there are many cleanses first, of course, because you want to work with the natural rhythms of the body, and the body's a flow system. So you want to cleanse before you detox, and it should be done supervised by a health practitioner, unless the person knows enough about it. For example, you know, a pregnant woman or a woman who's breastfeeding shouldn't be doing any kind of cleansing or detoxing. So it depends on the individual case, but of course, you know, eating as close as natural, as close as possible to natural whole foods, lots of fruits and vegetables. One guideline that's easy is that we are descendant of hunter-gatherer tribes. Our genes haven't changed in 40,000 years, but our environment has. But if you look at the hunter-gatherer tribes alive on the planet today, they don't have any lifestyle diseases, or what is coined diseases of civilization. They don't have cancer, they don't have depression, anxiety, diabetes, heart disease. It doesn't exist in those tribes. Osteoarthritis does, but that's because they're very active, and you know, they get injured and don't have maybe necessarily the access we do to the types of rehabilitation. But the bottom line is that you'll see them be active and fully contributing tribe members well into their later years. And when you look at what they eat and how they eat, and not just how they eat, but their movement patterns, their thinking patterns, but their eating patterns is very much fruits, vegetables, game meat, nuts, seeds, fruits. You know, they don't consume any grains, and they don't consume any dairy. So the more congruent you match up your choices with what your cells need, you will have cellular health, and all the cells that you're made of will all be healthy. And so employing practices such as juicing, such as sauna, such as even movement, walking. There's over 100 documented benefits of walking. So any of those choices, anything like that, is going to help you to increase your health.
Okay, so I heard you say that there's a difference between a cleanse and a detox. Could you please kind of establish for us very briefly what the difference is? Because I don't think people really understand that.
Yes, and that's an extremely important point, because the body's a flow system. Okay, and so your lymphatics, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin, your liver are all working hard. Those are the organs of elimination, right? They're moving the toxins out that you've accumulated or been exposed to or ingested. So what you want to do is make sure that that flow system is moving, because if it is not, then the toxins that you release by activating a cleanse or a detox will basically get recycled, and you actually can intoxicate yourself. And although many people will feel better for a short period of time, they actually will activate a more serious condition later on down the road. So you want to make sure that all those systems are ready to cleanse. You cleanse first. You make sure the lymphatics are flowing so that the lymphatics are throughout your system. They follow the muscles. You can make sure that they're clearing, and then they're getting the toxins to the appropriate area, and those organs as well have to be clear and well supported. Now juicing and I mean, there's many different cleanses and detoxification ways of detoxing, but with juicing, one of the upside and the nice things about that is that basically you're taking fruits and vegetables and you're juicing them down. You're getting fresh enzymes, water, fiber, antioxidants. So that is what you should be intaking. But if a person is quite ill, even that may start too big of a surge in their system. So for each person, you have to basically look at where they're at, or that person themselves needs to educate themselves on where they're at, and take a look at what they're capable of, and maybe plan it out if they are trying to target a specific organ, after they start cleansing and they've got the body system flowing, then, if they're having liver issues, then maybe they can look at juicing, particularly to pull toxins out of that organ. So your cleanse is where you can get the whole body going and actually enhance the natural detoxification process of the body. Okay, its own way of eliminating toxins. Whereas when you're detoxing, you're actually trying to remove like heavy metals from the central nervous system, candida from the reproductive system. Those are more targeted things to actually detox a specific tissue system or a specific organ.
So when you talk about detox, you really speak about very focused interventions to help, specific areas, whereas a cleanse is really getting the body ready to be working on that. Is that true?
If it's necessary. Okay. Many times if people have made good choices their life, and have lived congruently with their genetic profile in the way that they eat, the way that they move, the way that they think, many times it's enough to simply get the lymphatics moving and start cleansing, and they'll find that the body will take over because it's hardwired to heal. The innate intelligence in our cells are programmed for health. They're programmed for homeostasis, health, growth, and repair. So sometimes all they need is a little bit of help because we live in such a toxic and deficient environment now.
So when people start on a juice cleanse, for example, what are the most common symptoms that somebody might experience, and what would you recommend in that case?
Common symptoms can be headache, rash, skin rashes, sweating, even emotional, being more sensitive emotionally. Those are some of the most common. What can be done is the cleanse should be entered into slowly, especially if someone has never done one before. They need to be well hydrated. They need to decide, okay, are they juicing in addition to their own diet and reducing dietary intake and just adding the juice, or are they doing a juice fast? Because then you're going to have more symptoms, more chance of having symptoms when you're switching over to just juicing and you're fasting at the same time, which is it's just good. You have to prepare yourself for that. So, and you want to watch blood sugar. You don't want blood sugar spikes. And have to watch for hypoglycemia. Sometimes it can throw people off, and hormonally it can throw people's circadian rhythms off sometimes, just for short-term transient. So the more you know how and what to expect, the less people get fearful, right? Because sometimes people start on a road to health and they actually feel worse, so they just stop. But if you go into it prepared and you realize, okay, this is just a reaction because I'm letting go of toxins, then they're more comfortable. But water, hydration, supplementation sometimes, depending again on the individual person, and sleep. And you certainly wouldn't go into a cleanse or a detox when you're very busy, when you're undergoing a lot of other stress in your life. Should be done at a time that's just going to be routine, where your routine isn't going to demand too much of you, and you have to ensure, adequate water intake, sunshine, movement, and oxygen, breathing, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So Dr. Ferretti, you mentioned the 4 major ways of elimination that our body has. Could you maybe explain what those 4 ways are, and then how can we support each of those ways?
Okay, so the 4 main routes of elimination in the body are the kidneys, the lung, the skin, and the colon. So when you're doing something like a fast, a juice fast, or a cleanse, you want to support those routes of elimination. First of all, as I said before, you want to make sure your lymphatics are moving. That can be done simply with movement. So because the lymphatic follow the muscles the pump that pumps the lymph, and your lymphatics gather all the toxins, just simply moving, walking, gently stretching. Doesn't even have to be structured stretches, just stretching in whatever way you feel tight. The kidneys, make sure you're well hydrated. Make sure that the acid and alkaline balance is there in the body, which is highly supported by something like juicing. For the lungs, you can incorporate into your daily routine some deep breathing exercises, which are very cleansing and help move toxins out of the system as well. And of course the colon. Peristalsis, which is the muscular movement of the smooth muscle that the colon is made up of, is your kind of wave-like motion that moves your products of elimination through and out of your body. So just walking, and as long as the person, and the better movement that the person has in their pelvis and lower spine, the better their peristalsis is going to be. And just simply walking, adding an evening walk after dinner is one way to enhance your peristalsis. And then the other tissue system that gets very overlooked sometimes is the skin. The skin is an organ of respiration, but it's an organ of elimination as well. And as an organ of elimination, you can capitalize on your cleanse by dry brushing. So you would just take a soft brush or a loofah, and you would stand in your shower or before you have your bath, and you dry brush, especially where all the lymphatics are, at the sides of the neck, under the armpits, through the breast, chest area, through the groin area. Always brushing up to the kidneys. So you would want to, in your dry brushing, bring it all the way up to the kidney as you dry brush. And so that supporting your organs of elimination is going to enhance your cleanse, because it's going to move the toxins that you're pulling from the extracellular fluid and from organs out to move them out of the body quickly. Because the longer they stay in the body, the more they can bioaccumulate and get recycled by the liver, which is exhaustive to the liver. So it's important to support your cleanse and your organs.
So when you're juicing, what are the benefits to our digestive system?
Well, first of all, juicing fruits and vegetables is congruent with what our cells need for the genetic expression of health. The vitamins, minerals, enzymes. That's one of the best benefits. The second is when you're juicing, if you're adding it to your diet, in addition to foodstuffs, it's highly digestible. And if you're only on it, it's highly digestible, right? So if you're doing a juice fast, it's highly digestible. It's very easy on your food system. Or your digestive system. One of the things about the digestive system is that most people who suffer with lifestyle disease or chronic disease, when you analyze their case or go over things with them, they don't chew their food. And a healthy person should be chewing their food at least 50 times. Because if your food bolus goes down into your digestive system in your stomach, and your stomach's got to do all the breaking down of it, many times it's not broken down completely. And then when it makes it into the small intestines, which are your 80% of your immune system, there's finger-like villi that have receptor sites for not just nutrition but neurotransmitters. It gets very congested in there, and it stagnates. And then when it gets into the colon itself, what happens is it's not fully broken down, and it can seep out the colon wall, and then it has to be recycled. As a matter of fact, in osteoarthritis, the #1 toxin found in osteoarthritic joints is undigested food molecules. So juicing, being on a juice fast or adding juice, is you're giving something that the cells need that they have very easy access to. So you're improving their health right there. Being on a juice fast will help your colon with its elimination processes. So when food is chewed properly or broken down, or when you're on a juice fast, it makes it easier for the colon to eliminate the waste products from itself. When food isn't chewed properly, what happens is that it can end up putrefying in the gut, and then you increase your toxin level. So being on a juice fast is like giving your colon a day at the spa. It allows it to relax. It can help with your elimination. It can help with your absorption. In cases, there's been alleviation of depressive states because of the neurotransmitters in the small intestines. So it helps on a number of levels.
Can you speak to that a little bit? That's fascinating. So you're saying that when somebody is drinking juice, there's been studies where it actually helps with depression?
Yes.
Can you just focus in on that,
Well,
please?
if we go back to the small intestine and look at the finger-like villi in the small intestine, there's receptor sites for serotonin, not just for nutrient uptake. And those receptor sites, if they're not clear or they're congested or stagnant, the serotonin has a hard time hooking on to it. And when you're juicing, because you're making it easier for the body, for the stomach breaking it down, for the small intestine absorbing the nutrients, which are fresh, enzymatic, the enzymes still have their life activity, then what happens is you get better uptake of your neurotransmitters, and that can help to alleviate depression. Same as allergies, when the small intestine, because 80% of your immune system is in the small intestine, when it gets covered in mucus because of toxins, improperly broken down food, what happens is you get a lot of cross reactivity. And many people see when they're on a juice fast or when you're cleansing the colon, you see improvement in allergies.
So in closing, Dr. Ferretti, what are the 3 things that you would recommend to anybody who wants to take a step into improving their own health?
Oh, okay. Well, there's many things that you can do very easily. But I have found the most successful steps, the most successful choices is when you decided to increase your level of health. The very easiest way to do it is to simply add things. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Okay, 150-pound person, and remember, water's not a beverage. It's a nutrient we need for biochemical reactions. Okay, so it's not a choice. It's a necessity. It's a nutrient, just like oxygen is and sunlight. So a 150-pound person needs about a gallon a day. That's 4 liters. It sounds like a lot, but 1 to 1.5 liters should be from your water-dense fruits and vegetables, because you get your enzymes, antioxidants, fiber, and water. And then the other 2 to 3 liters, depending on the body weight. And another guideline you can use is 1 liter of water per 50 pounds of weight. Should be 2 to 3 liters of a good source of water. Another trick is genetically we're meant to be mildly alkaline inside, but in industrialized living we tend to be very acidic, especially in toxin accumulation in the body. So you can alkalize your water, maybe not all of it, but by adding fresh lemon or lime to it. To some of the glasses of water. Coconut water is also an excellent alkalizer. Another thing you can do is you can begin each meal with what we call fresh fiber first. Dr. Chestnut says FFF, fresh fiber first, always. And if you're worried about blood sugar, you can always add a few nuts to that. So fresh fiber first, as you lead in each one of your meals, would be maybe fruit in the morning, and raw vegetables or fruit in the with your lunch meal and your dinner. And always eat that first before you eat anything else. You can juice. What you can get from juicing fruits and vegetables is basically what a multivitamin is made of. So if you economically can't afford or don't want to be buying a multivitamin, if you're juicing, then you're fine. You'll have adequate intake provided you're juicing enough. Another is simply walking to help your colon with elimination, dry brushing, as we mentioned before. All of those can be adding things. So, and you will find that the more things that you add, the more what we'll call positive steps that you take and you add to eat congruently with your genetic profile and move congruently with your genetic profile and think. And, you know, for thinking, the walking is good. Again, listening to nice music, anything uplifting, spending some time in nature, in our more natural states, all of those. The more that you do that, you're going to find that you can't do without those positive things. And the negative things tend to fall away. What I have found with people who, you know, are tell me that they're addicted to Coke or they're addicted to coffee, I say, okay, well, to start, try to drink a liter a day of water, and then for every cup of coffee you have an equal amount of water. Or, you know, juicing. I mean, juicing's an easy way to have a huge health benefit. And not you don't need to have like a fancy juicer. It just has to be something basic, something you can clean quickly. And you can use, you can intake the juice, you can use the pulp. Some of them will provide you with the pulp. You can use the pulp in making your food, you know, baking, all of those things. So there's many ways and easy ways to do.
What I heard you say, actually, it makes a lot of sense. And at the same time, when I hear someone talk about starting to live healthier, it's always about taking things away, but what you seem to recommend is actually adding the good things. Absolutely. And then the negative ones.
What's the first thing that happens when you think you're going to not be able to have coffee or be able to have chocolate? You go right away into fight or flight, and fight or flight is the wrong way we want to go. That's a high cost system. The stress response, we don't want to be adding stress to anybody's life because it makes us acidic, breaks our tissues down. So if we take away the idea that they're, you know, going to go hungry or they're going to feel deprived, then you take the stress off even before it begins, before they even start thinking that way. So that what you do is just have them do steps where they're adding positive action all the time. And because really in our natural state, that is what we were designed to eat. When that begins to wake up in the body, you make those choices, and you can just walk away from chocolate or walk away from cigarettes because it's just not a match to your system. But you have to wake the system up. You have to give it sufficient raw materials in sufficient amounts for long enough to get enough of a change.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you, Dr. Ferretti. Thank you so much for all the great information. I mean, I have learned a lot today, and I'm sure our audience will appreciate all the information that you gave. Is there anything else that you want to add to it, or?
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for having me on the show, and I love to share the information. One of my greatest teachers and mentors is Dr. James Chestnut, and you know, what we want people to know, what I want people to know, is that they have a choice. They can choose health. You know, even though we're surrounded by, you know, a multitude of different lifestyle diseases, I really think it's a tragedy that people just succumb to the belief, which is inaccurate, that they have to develop a lifestyle disease over their lifetime, because they don't have to. They can choose. They can choose health, and health is attainable. Even in industrialized living, you just have to know how to maneuver your way through the choices and what to do. And I'm always happy to provide any information I can on that to anyone.
Well, thank you, and I know we have your links in our show as well. So if anybody wants to find out more about you or Dr. Chestnut, then they can always go to theholisticpractice.com.